Hello there, Bomber fans. I'm back with another video, and today's video is entitled Major League Football versus the CFL. And you might ask yourself at this point, what the heck is Major League Football? And you wouldn't be wrong for posing that question. It's a brand new football league that's starting up in the United States, and it's it's another one of those leagues, right? That starts up in the United States and has a chance to possibly compete for CFL talent. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to discuss the possibility of that league having a negative effect on the CFL, or what I think of it. First of all, I'd like to say that I don't think this league is another, you know, XFL or whatever. There was another league that was playing football. I think they must have folded by now, but they were playing for the past few seasons. And these leagues have a tendency to come and go. There's been, I'd say, the only real successful professional football league other than the NFL is probably the Arena Football League. And I think that part of the reason why that league has been successful is because it's different and it's basically football in the winter, and they don't pay their players a ton of money, and any time in which that league has started paying their players more, they've ended up having to cut back on that because teams were losing money. But I have to say, I think this new league is getting a lot of things right. I think they have a chance to be long-term viable. One of the main things is they're not trying to compete against the NFL whatsoever. It is a spring league, and they are only putting teams, at least right now, in markets that don't have an NFL team and don't have a Major League Baseball team. So these are underserved markets. And one of the other interesting things about this league is that it pays its players all the same amount of money, whether they are the best player in the league or the worst player in the league, whether they're a quarterback or a slot back. I guess down south they don't have a slot back position; they just have a bunch of wide receivers. But in any event, they're paying the players not a lot of money. They're paying them, I think it is about $15,000 a year per player, and that's if they play all 10 games. So even with the exchange rate right now, the minimum salary. So you're talking about players that are trying to recruit from the States to come up here just to start. I believe the CFL minimum salary is 48K, which obviously with the exchange rate, that's going to be lower, probably 30K. But even as a baseline salary, that's a lot more money than what players stand to make playing in the Major League Football League down in the States. And the other interesting thing about this league, which I think also could increase their appeal, is much like the CFL, they have an import non-import ratio. But in their case, they have an import like a ratio of players that have to come from their radius. Like, so they would be geographically speaking, they would be signing, half of their players would probably have to be from their local 2 or 3 colleges. So they have to either be born there or they have to have played locally. And I think that's huge, because I think that it's a known thing that in the United States college football is huge. Like in some ways it's just as big, if not bigger, than the NFL. And so those players end up playing for college, and let's say they're a little bit too short or not quite fast enough, but they're still a really good player. They don't make the NFL. Boom, you can put them on your local Major League Football team, and that player will have a certain level of celebrity status, and should, emotionally, I think that fans are going to be more likely to show up and support this local football team with a local element to it. Just like I think that's been a great thing for the CFL, to have the non-import ratio, which means that quite often, or at least more often, you can get local players, or at least Canadians, playing for your CFL team. So, as it stands right now, like, I think it's actually going to benefit the CFL in some ways, because there's so many good football players out there, and they can't all play in the CFL. It's a pretty small league. Not that many jobs for American players, actually, when you factor in that half the jobs go to Canadian players. So, in the short term, you're going to have, a bunch of more American players out there, more being coached up and improving their skills, rather than sitting at home hoping to make it to an NFL training camp, or hoping to make it to a CFL training camp. And, what's going to end up happening is, a lot of the all-star players out of that league are going to be put on the CFL's radar. So when you're looking for an improvement in a certain area of your CFL team, that's going to be interesting. One interesting thing is Dan Lefevre, who's CFL quarterback. He's played for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and he's played for Montreal Alouettes, was drafted today in the Major League Football Association, but I don't know. They don't know, or they haven't announced exactly what teams are there. So they know that somebody has drafted him, but they haven't said to which team, and I have no idea if he's going to go down there and play or not. It seems a little bit interesting, because the guy can make a lot more money playing in the CFL if there's an opportunity here for him. But anyways, that's a wrap. Right now, it's nothing to worry about, and hopefully, it does well, and hopefully it doesn't do so well that they're doubling, tripling, quadrupling the payrolls in the future, because at that point it could definitely have a material impact on the CFL in the negative. But right now, I just see it as a positive. Alright, if you like this video and like to view more, please click on the subscribe link below.